Big exciting news as you start your Monday afternoon, as Mitch McConnell may be endeavoring to do one of the dirtiest and slickest and most beneficial moves that we could have ever hoped for stimulus relief. Sliding CR into a continuing resolution bill, a CR, a federal budget bill, to get it passed and saying this is my way or the highway, otherwise we're shutting down the federal government. It's a plan that will likely get all the GOP on board and will get the president on board and will give Nancy Pelosi pulling out her hair as her only last option. It's such a strange situation that I had to go ask the expert about this, Sirloin. So I went to the Casino. I went to the Casino because if you don't recall, the last time there was a continuing resolution, only one group got money in the continuing resolution as stimulus. The cows and farmers. No joke. So I went to Sirloin and I said, "Hey, Sirloin, what's going on?" "Oh, can you move over?" "Yeah, I just, have you heard what's going on with stimulus? Stimulus? More stimulus for me? I need more stimulus. I need another Cadillac." No, I'm not talking about stimulus for you. I'm talking about stimulus for Americans. Mitch McConnell's trying to put stimulus into the continuing resolution bill for us. Oh, like how Nancy did it for me, the stimulus in the last bill. The cows, we got our stimulus, and she got $12 ice cream. Yes, but what he's trying to do is put in stimulus checks, FPUC, UI, PUA, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance, all those incredible things. What do you think about that? No money for the cows? No, you've had stimulus. I'm asking your opinion about what we would get under adding to this for the CR. Do you think Nancy would do this? Well, you got to give her $12 ice cream to do that. It's just, is everything $12 ice cream? Is that the only way you get her to do anything you want? Come on, Sirloin, any other ideas? Well, you can give her gift certificates to Supercuts. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here, you're here, and, gift certificates to Supercuts are not being provided by this channel today, but, I'm so glad you joined me for being a Mitch, because there's breaking developments across the board as, really, no joke, the cows were the last one to get stimulus in the continuing resolution bill of the fall, and now we, the viewers of this channel who are not cows, thank you, are trying to get that stimulus in our continuing resolution bill that is due December 11th. It's incredible, great news, and I'm going to be getting to that shortly. But first, subscribe to this channel because, boy, who is fighting to get you money around the clock? Myself, the subscribers of this channel, and you together as an incredible family. We've been doing this now since not last Thursday, but the Thursday before that, and I've gotten about $300,000. And this is money right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. It's money that you can get because you're entitled to it. It was money given to the cities and counties from the state that got it from the federal government. It's $150 billion of CARES Act 1 money. It's for rent, it's for utilities. And what's important to understand is the money's not going to be around there indefinitely. It will likely leave around December 15th. So I want you to get this money right now. And subscribe to this channel because I'm going taped, I'm going live, I'm answering your questions in 2 live recordings today. The next one's at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, Purple Power Live. So please subscribe. Also, like this video. In this video, I'll be going over what Mitch McConnell is doing and what he's not doing, what would be in the stimulus plan, and why this is really sort of the dirty tactic that we all love. We just have to hope he goes through with it. This is all the result of a news report over the weekend and a series of reports following thereafter. With that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that a series of news reports now say that the Republican GOP leadership wants to put the stimulus they like in a continuing resolution bill and ultimately hold it for ransom and basically say we're going to shut down the federal government for, for Joe Biden because you're not giving us the stimulus we want. I just think it's so darn dirty. I just love it. I can't remember the last time that the threat of shutting down the federal government right before the other party's president comes in has happened. But to use it for the purposes of leveraging to get what your party wants and the other party doesn't want to do. Ooh, I just love it. It's just delicious. More delicious than a panettone on holidays at Lalate. Let me explain to you what's going on. The continuing resolution bill is a bill that's required to fund the federal government. It's done every 3-4 months. It's called the continuing resolution. Because that's so hard to say. It's like 5 vowels. We say CR instead of continuing resolution. And it's generally a very basic bill. It's not very complicated, but it's a bill. It has to go from the Senate or the House to the other House or the Senate, and then go to the President to be signed. It has to be approved by the Senate, approved by the House, and signed by the President. If you're not up to date on when the Senate is, because it's hard to keep track at this point, the Senate is still run by the GOP, by the Republicans. The Georgia races are not till January, and so this bill has to be done by December 11th. The rule is that if it's not done by December 11th, the federal government shuts down. And what does that mean, shut down? It means there's no supercuts. No, it means you can't get your hair at the presidential hair salon in the basement. I don't know if there's a hair salon in the basement, but you can't go to the casino in the presidential taxi either. You can't do anything that you want to do, including get your check. Imagine finally they can't get their check if they don't give us our check. I just love that. I just love it. I just love the way it sounds. And what's important to understand about this is that Mitch McConnell, since May, has wanted to give you the same series of things. Now, he's changed over time. I understand that. He's now recently said, I want to do the problem solvers bill. Chuck Grassley says, I want to do the problem solvers bill. Lindsey Graham, this is one of the number 2 or number 3 GOP in the Senate, says, I want to do the problem solvers bill. So they all want to do the problem solvers bill. So by that account, they mean that they want to do a stimulus check. So we all have them on point for the same general things: stimulus check, unemployment, PPP, EIDL, mortgage, rent, food, and that's basically it. Guess what? That doesn't cost a whole lot of money. A report earlier today said that the CR, based upon negotiations of the Appropriations Committee, which is a committee, it's not anything more than that, is putting the CR potentially at $1.4 trillion. Now, I love that number. You know why I love that number? Because a $1,200 stimulus check only costs about $300 billion. Another round of FPUC, even retroactive to September, probably costs about $300 trillion. And then eviction moratorium is free. Mortgage forbearance is free. Student loan repayment moratorium is free. And liability protection is free. And PPP, if you're going to do some PPP, that wouldn't, I don't know, $100 million of PPP, an emergency PPP, doesn't cost a lot of money. So 1.4 is a big number. I'm really excited about this. So what did the news report say? The news report said that, these are the deal items, but didn't have real clarity. So viewers have asked me, well, how much will the dependence check will be? How much will they take off of child support? How many in the household? It's just, the usual questions you would ask. How quickly? And we just don't know the answers to it because the article didn't say it. Or any of the other articles so far. The other thing that we do know is the routing times. It would take 10 days from the point at which it became law to get the check in your hand if you're signed up for electronic receipt. So if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits, it takes 11 days from then to receive the check. Also, if you pay your IRS money by electronic receipt, about 10 days from thereafter. All really simple. If you're not signing electronically a week after. What's important to understand also, I forgot to say in some of the earlier videos today, is generally when they've done these CRs, they've not waited till the last day. What they did with the last one, I can specifically recall because it was only 2 months ago, is that they first negotiated the terms. Then It's typical. Nancy said, that's not what I agreed to. You changed the language again. And so then she said, I want some money for the cows in there. And then it held up for an extra day for that. Then suddenly there was an announced second informal agreement. And then it was approved by the Senate at like 7 o'clock at night and the House at 7 o'clock at night. And the president signed it like an hour later. So it literally was done in the thick of the evening. It was not something like, we got to wait 5 days to get this done. So they could get it done right this week. So don't presume we have to wait to December 11th. I saw some comments in earlier days' videos where they're like, do we really have to wait to December 11th? Do we really have to wait to December 20th? Well, remember, this is the federal government, so I've been saying this sentence since April 5th, or maybe July 5th. They can't send you checks within 24-hour notice. There's no universe of the federal government ever sending you a check in 24 hours where they say, oh, we have a law, you get the check tomorrow morning. That's not how it works. So ultimately, you have to add 10 days of routing time when it becomes a law. Now, is there anything else that's sort of tantalizing about this? Yes. So what's tantalizing about this is that the news article claimed that Nancy Pelosi was unhappy with this, as to be expected, and that she was going to hold out for $600 a week of FPUC. Never going to happen. And was going to hold out for $300 billion or $500 billion to state and local. Never going to happen. In fact, now we know it doesn't happen because the Appropriations Committee has given us the dollar value for the bill. So the bill will not be eaten up 50% for state and local for Gavin Newsom to go to some French restaurant inside. It's not going to be eaten up predominantly by state and local. It can't. So that is all really good. What's also really good is that Janet Yellen is now the official Treasury Secretary appointee by the Biden administration. She's an economist. She's not an English major that, writes poetry like Nancy Pelosi does, because apparently Nancy Pelosi, all her infatuation was for 2 months was changing the language of Steve Mnuchin's language. I don't like Steve Mnuchin's language. I don't like what he's saying about test and tracing. I don't like this language. I don't like the language. The numbers are fine, but I don't like the language. Janet Yellen is coming in now, and she's basically saying, get the numbers right and get it out. What are we doing? We're going to fight over language for 5 months? Every time you fight over language for 5 months, you're going to need 5 times more economic stimulus. Let me give you an example. You have a deal. Let's say you have a deal on January 1, and then suddenly Nancy Pelosi wants to argue about language for 4 weeks. Well, suddenly when you're doing the stimulus, if the stimulus is going to go out 4 weeks later, you're going to have a lot more stimulus because 4 weeks has passed. That's what Janet Yellen's going to say very loud and clear to Nancy Pelosi, is that every time she delays the situation because she wants to do something really petty and not emergency focused, that ultimately it's going to cause everything to not be sufficient. Sufficiency is based upon how much we're doing it with the emergency at hand. And that ultimately, if you're waiting around because you want to hold off for something else, that's not going to happen. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, I had told you before I heard about this CR over the weekend, or Sunday, that I thought that a stimulus check and that extension of unemployment benefits would be coming during the holidays if Congress acts logically. And viewers keep on saying, oh, that's very funny that you're saying that. Well, how else do I say it? That they act logically, reasonably, and rationally. Ultimately, happy 2021. Let's ring in New Year's Eve by celebrating that no one gets unemployment protection, that everyone's unemployed and no one gets a penny for unemployment assistance. What type of New Year's Eve is that celebration? How about the fact that businesses are shut down and they have no PPP to keep them going? What about the fact that no one has gotten a stimulus check since the month of April, and that Senator-elect Harris said that no one could live on $1,200 a month? Well, it's been 7 months since she said that. 7 months and not a single stimulus check. So this is the reality that's kicking in very quickly. And with that type of reality, I want you to stay with me as more. Coming up next on Evenings LA is Check. Big developments of that across the board. And then after that is Purple Power Live. It'll be a supersized Purple Power Live with a lot of details about stimulus checks, hazard pay, grants, and EIDL and escalate benefits. It's going to be a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff to tune into. So as always, tune in for that as well. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in LA for more.